Hey, this is DJ. This is Kaz. We're buried above ground, and this is Speak of the Devil podcast.
Greetings from Podcastville. The Speak of the Devil podcast is brought to you by the apocalypse because everybody's going crazy buying toilet paper everywhere because the world is having a bad touch of the coronavirus flu. But we are safe here, so let's take that off. So, welcome to the quarantine version of Speak of the Devil podcast. I actually might have some people watch this thing now since all of you guys are probably so bored out of your minds. Why not watch this, right? Like, it might be interesting. You never know. I mean, what do you got to lose? You got to sit around for the next 3 weeks at least here in Ohio, where we're in. We're till April 7th. We are not coming out of our homes. We are turning into hobbits and going to be in our little hobbit holes. So, now that we are enjoying being a hobbit, let's talk about something that is not happening anymore, and that would be music all around. Any band or artist or any kind of, well, basically anything you like. I don't, if it's an outdoor event or whatever, it is off. This coronavirus that is spreading through the world has, for good measure, since we don't have a cure or anything to really treat it, just stay the heck away from everybody is kind of the best response. So, in music news, there is no music news. No tours for at least 2 months. Which, I mean, seriously, for in the state of the economy that the music industry is, where, you know, album sales are, you know, non-existent, streaming sales give you pennies on the dollar. I mean, all you have is, you know, being able to tour and I guess sell merch. I mean, and I know a lot of bands are saying it's time to buy merch and stuff, but, you know, I mean, a lot of that stuff is driven on impulse when you're actually at a show and having a good time and you want to buy a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I know you want to support your guys right now, but I think everybody's just so scared. It's like not the time to buy merchandise. So then, you know, I feel for a lot of these bands, especially, you know, bands that aren't like mega bands or whatever that are out there, you know, that they just tour to, you know, just basically put food and bread on the table, you know. So hopefully it gets a little better. You know, with that situation in the upcoming months, and people can get back on the road and entertaining everybody, and we'll be back rocking again. But for now, everybody's taking a pause. So since we're taking a pause, it's a good time to just sit at home and play video games. So, kind of unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize that I was going to jump in on this kind of this fad towards the end of its life cycle, not realizing that it'd be the perfect time to live in a virtual world right now when you can't go outside. But yes, this is the PlayStation VR headset. Very cool. Like I said, PS4 is on its way out. PS5's coming. I believe this or another version of it will still be compatible with the PS5. But for right now, you can get these relatively cheap. I think this is like $130 or something on GameStop right now, and I think when they first came out they were $400 3 years ago. So, and the nice thing about it too is now that it's on the way out, most of the games are really cheap, or, you know, almost a lot of them, the demos and stuff, are free. Finally have a use for the Move controllers that I never had a PS3, so I never used these before now, but they certainly get the job done. I think obviously they didn't create these thinking for VR in mind, but if they do a PS5 version, all they really need to add are 2 analog sticks right here. Pull these PlayStation buttons down, put 2 analogs, and then you'll be able to actually move your guy. There's a lot of games that like Doom VFR and others where you just point and click to where you want your guy to move, which I guess I was going to talk about that later, but I guess I'll talk about it now. It's definitely kind of almost better, though, that you can point and click sometimes and just point to where you want to go, because as someone that's susceptible to motion sickness, I would always get sick in the back of cars and all that kind of stuff. Most VR games that I played did not get me sick, except the ones where you actually start moving your avatar throughout the virtual world. Then there's this weird disconnect with your eyes, where on some games I was certainly feeling motion sickness, and on a couple demos I definitely one night just got totally sick one night. The games where you're able to just sit in a seat or a cockpit, and you can just look around, and your head is free from actually what is going on independently. And a couple games that are like that are Drive Club, Wipeout. You can actually set up the settings to be for the VR to be on the track, so it's not so crazy. So I mean, it's fast, but it doesn't get you so like motion sickness. Overall, it's very interesting. A kind of cool tech to everyone if you're kind of new to it. Usually, we do the PlayStation Worlds VR, where you kind of do the deep dive tank and you go down and you see the fish and all that kind of stuff. And then in the end, there's a shark that comes up. And again, you just stand there and you're in the cage, so you don't have that risk of motion sickness from moving around. Now, you can move around the environment a little bit, and it'll actually, kind of track the movements, which is really interesting, especially on a game that I just recently picked up for this Astrobot VR, or whatever it is. That is really cool because it's like this platformer where sometimes you need to kind of peek around the corners with your head just to see where you need to go. So very cool. Everybody's Golf, made by Clap Hands. I'm not sure if they're the same developers that made the Hot Shots Golf series on the original PlayStation or not, but it definitely has a very Hot Shots Golf feel to it. You get the nice shot, logo when you hit a good shot. So I'd imagine it's probably tied to it. That's really cool. Drive Club. Oh man, Drive Club. Drive Club was the first game that I played where I was just tickled pink. Like, I couldn't believe how cool it was to just look around the cars and see these, fully decked out interiors, and then the game runs really great too. It doesn't cause any motion sickness, although I guess if you play any of these games, even the ones that have kind of a low kind of tolerant or low ability to make you sick, after a while, after about an hour and a half of having this headset on, it's weird. You just you got to take it off after about an hour and take a break, no matter if it's not making you sick or not, just to kind of walk around and get your head back in the real world. But very immersive, very cool. Voltron was the first game I played, being a super fan of Voltron and watching that series. They had all the voice actors. I wish they could have like a whole kind of mini-series Voltron VR thing. But again, it's the experiences that last a little bit shorter that are better, that leave you wanting more. The ones that go on and on and on can kind of be a little, motion sickness inducing. I did try, but I quit because I'm too much of a fraidy cat, especially by myself. And hey, if you want to try it, go ahead, but I dare you. And that would be Resident Evil 7. You could get the demo on the demo. I think the demo's called Kitchen, and you just start off, in that, environment. But oh my god, maybe if you love horror movies, yeah, you'd be like, yeah, it's nothing. But I'm not a big horror fan or whatever. And putting something in VR where somebody's cutting people in half and stuff with knives, and it looks like it's really in front of you, no thanks. I lasted about maybe 30 seconds after people started cutting people up. I played the original demo in 2D, and I handled it, but man, I was in 3D. It's nope. So if you got a real good, strong horror stomach, man, oh my god, Resident Evil 7 is just amazing in VR. So So yeah, it's cool. We got the VR aim over here. So you got the full, again, the movement. There will be another attachment that comes with this that maybe next time I'll review, probably not, but it'll be like just a little arm shoulder rest, so it's more comfortable to hold over long periods of time. The two games that are for this are Farpoint and a couple other military games or whatever, but Farpoint is like the sci-fi one. I'm a little hesitant to try them, though. I actually have not tried them because, like I said earlier, the movement thing, you have actually analogs on here, so you have full freedom of movement with this within the VR world. And I don't know, I like I said, the motion ones are kind of giving me motion sickness. Maybe there's some comfort settings or whatever, but there are a lot of games like you can Doom VFR, you can play this with the click or whatever because you can't move around free. Maybe you can, I don't know, I haven't tried it, but yeah, the aim, it just adds a little bit more to the whole VR experience. So I'm enjoying it. It's very gimmicky, obviously. After you kind of tried it and you get over that initial wow factor, after a while, it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to put this thing on and have your hair like all matted up against your head and everything, and red marks on your face. So, and the motion sickness thing, which is certainly not fun. But overall, as a new experience, and now that we're in quarantine, it's nice that I can at least go to a virtual world if I really need to escape the confines of my own house. So that is video games, and now we'll move to wrestling, and not very much news on wrestling, just like music, where pretty much most promotions are, shutting down touring and live events because, any gathering over 50 people is not recommended, so most things are shut down. And even the almighty WWE has had to alter and change their plans for WrestleMania, which now means that WrestleMania will not be held in Tampa, Florida. It is now being moved to Orlando in the Performance Center. And being in Orlando and in the Performance Center means that it will be a closed set. There will be no audience members, just like they've done a couple Raws and SmackDowns, and I guess all now Raw and SmackDowns going forward. And I don't know if it's because of the closed set rules and the 50 people in a room thing, but WrestleMania is doing what I have pleaded and begged on this podcast for just me that has watched all of the episodes that would know. I've been begging for them to do it on a Saturday night because UFC does it on Saturday nights. It's a better thing where, not everybody, but, your regular 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, blue-collar American can stay up late on a Saturday night with his friends or whatever, and then, next Sunday sleep in or whatever. Now, the old model of Sundays was fine when the pay-per-views would end at 11, but then they started ending at midnight, and now they're starting to end at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And I mean, it's getting to the point where, it's too long. Even the live events of last year, I mean, we're going into the next day, and it's too much. Especially for people that, if it's on a Sunday and you got to work Monday, it's to the point now, it's like, if you want to have a decent time, it's like you almost got to call off work if you can even do that, or leave early, which a lot of people have been doing anyways. So they're going to test out the model. So now, because of the closed sets and over the course of 2 days, it will be on Saturday and a Sunday 2 weeks from now in April. I think it's like 5th or 6th or 6th or 7th, something like that, whatever that first weekend of April is. And we'll see. I mean, I've been to 2 WrestleManias. I mean, my favorite match that I've ever seen in my life was at WrestleMania, The Rock and Hogan. The idea that some of these guys, not all of them, but I mean, some of these guys, man, this is what they've worked their entire lives. As corny as it is to people, for these wrestlers, this is their world, and now they finally get to the stage, and now it's got to be on this closed set, and it's very awkward. But the storyline must go on, I guess. So even though they're losing money, the story goes on. We still get to watch something, even though got to watch it by myself. I can't have any friends or family over. I just got to sit here, and maybe I could talk to you guys on another camera podcast. Maybe I could do a live stream. I don't even know how to do that, but I'm sure the same 0 people of you would watch it anyway. So maybe I'll just do a recap when it's over. So that's it, man. Yeah, we are living in quarantine for the next couple weeks. Maybe we'll do a podcast before that. Maybe do a rundown of some of the match predictions. But I don't know how important that's going to be to do match predictions. But regardless, this has been another episode of the Speak of the Devil podcast. Wash your hands, stay away from people, and let's get through this. Stay safe, everybody.